the detective who solved his own murder. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear isn't fiction. It's a story that makes even the toughest investigators look over their shoulders. A case so twisted that the man who solved it was also its victim. This is the story of Detective Mark Reeves, the detective who solved his own murder. It began on a foggy Thursday morning in November 2019, in the small but gritty city of Asheville, North Carolina. The rain had been steady through the night, leaving the streets slick and empty. At 6:42 a.m., a call came into dispatch. A silver Ford Taurus was found parked along a narrow road outside the city limits. The engine was running. The driver was slumped over the steering wheel. Within minutes, patrol officers arrived and confirmed the impossible. It was Detective Mark Reeves, a 43-year-old veteran investigator with over 20 years on the force. He'd been with the Asheville PD since his early 20s, known for his calm under pressure and his obsession with unsolved cases. The department's golden boy was gone. At first glance, it looked like suicide. A single gunshot wound to the chest. His service weapon was still in his hand. But something about the scene felt wrong to the first responders. The angle of the gun, the lack of blood spatter on the steering wheel, and the fact that Reeves had been right-handed. His gun was in his left. Detectives from the State Bureau of Investigation were called in, but within hours the official narrative began to take shape. Self-inflicted gunshot wound, likely stress-related. It was the easy explanation. The department was under pressure from the media, and Reeves had reportedly been struggling with exhaustion. But what they didn't know, or maybe didn't want to know, was that Mark Reeves had been investigating something that reached far beyond the usual suspects. 2 weeks earlier, Reeves had confided in his longtime partner, Detective Laura Nguyen. He told her he believed someone inside their own department was feeding information to criminals, tipping off drug raids, leaking surveillance schedules, even tampering with evidence. He called it the rot in the roots. He'd been digging quietly for months, compiling names, files, and digital logs, and he had told her one last thing before he died. If anything happens to me, check my laptop. You'll understand. But when police searched Reeves' home the day after his death, his laptop was gone. The hard drive had been ripped clean out of his desktop, too. Everything, every note, every photo, every lead vanished. The official report didn't mention the missing equipment. It simply stated personal effects secured. Laura didn't buy it. She'd known Mark for nearly 15 years. He was methodical, cautious, and the least likely man to take his own life. So she started digging herself. Quietly. Off the record. Late at night, after her shifts ended, she went through Reeves' old case logs and evidence sign-out records. She noticed something strange. His name kept appearing in the chain of custody for cases he was never assigned to. Files linked to narcotic seizures, property room audits, even homicide evidence he shouldn't have touched. But Laura knew Mark wasn't stealing evidence. He was tracing it. He had found something. One night, she drove out to the same spot where Reeves' car was found. She noticed faint tire marks leading off the road toward a patch of overgrown brush. When she followed them, she found a small clearing and a single spent shell casing glinting under her flashlight. It didn't match Mark's gun. That was the first proof. But when she tried to log it into evidence, her captain pulled her aside. "Drop it, Laura," he said flatly. "You're chasing ghosts." A week later, her access to the internal database was revoked. The next morning, an unmarked envelope appeared in her mailbox. Inside were 4 printed photographs. Reeves sitting at his desk. Reeves meeting with someone in a dark parking lot. Reeves walking into a diner. The photos were taken days before his death. On the back of one was a single line written in pen. He knew. The message was clear. Someone was watching her now, too. She went underground. Working from a motel outside the city, Laura began reaching out to old contacts, retired detectives, a journalist from the Asheville Times, and a tech expert who had once helped Reeves crack a financial fraud ring. Together, they started to piece together fragments of data left behind on old police servers. One file stood out. It was a backup of Reeves' body camera footage from the week before his death. One clip, dated November 5th, showed Reeves entering a condemned building on the east side of town. He was alone. The audio was faint, but his voice could be heard saying, I know it's you. Just tell me why. Then another voice, distorted but low, responded, You shouldn't have looked. The video cut off right after that. When Laura tried to trace the source of the file, it disappeared from the system entirely. Deleted remotely. Someone was covering tracks in real time. She knew she couldn't go to her department anymore. The betrayal went too deep. Instead, she went to the FBI's field office in Charlotte. At first, they brushed her off. It sounded like another conspiracy theory. But when she showed them the deleted server logs and the missing laptop report, they agreed to quietly open an inquiry. Months passed. The official story remained unchanged. Detective Reeves, suicide, case closed. Then, in late 2020, Laura received an email from an anonymous address. Attached was a single document, Reeves_notes_final.pdf. It contained screenshots of his investigation, coded file paths, and a single line written at the bottom. If you're reading this, I didn't make it, but neither will they. Inside those notes were connections between several local businesses, shell companies, and payments tied directly to the evidence room manager and 2 senior officers. Reeves had uncovered a corruption ring, drug money being laundered through police impound auctions. The men behind it had motive, access, and power. The FBI reopened the case, this time under federal jurisdiction. Within months, 2 officers were arrested, and a third resigned before charges could be filed. When ballistic tests were run again, they confirmed what Laura had known all along. The gunshot that killed Reeves came from a second weapon, not his own. Detective Mark Reeves had solved his own murder from beyond the grave. In April 2021, the Asheville PD released a statement calling him a hero who never stopped pursuing the truth. His family was finally given closure. But for Laura, the cost was higher than anyone realized. She left the force, unable to trust the badge anymore. In her words, Mark didn't die because he failed. He died because he found the truth, and the truth scared people. Today, his name is etched on the wall of fallen officers. But in quiet corners of Asheville, some still whisper about the ghost detective, the man who left behind a trail of clues even death couldn't silence. If this story gave you chills, hit subscribe, and get ready for the next one. Because justice doesn't always come from the living, and sometimes the dead